Hello, everyone. Welcome to Into the Rabbit Hole with me. My name is Nancy, and I currently homeschool two boys. I have a fourth grader and a sixth grader. So, rising fifth grader, rising seventh grader for this upcoming school year. So, today I thought maybe we would do more of a planning video because that's kind of what I have to figure out. So, if you guys want to see other books that I plan on integrating with that, make sure that you follow me over on Instagram. If you have an Instagram account, it's the exact same username as I have here. So Into the Rabbit Hole with me. And then as usual, subscribe if you like what you see and you want to see more videos and get notified of it. So I figured that we would do more of a planning style video today because I have to organize and figure out what it is that I want to do. So I know I want to integrate this Beautiful Feet books, U.S. Geography, a literature approach for the intermediate grades. So I know that I want to do this, but what I have currently going on, and my intention was always to merge these two, by the way. So this isn't anything new. My intention was always to merge Beautiful Feet books with Memoria Press. So this is what I have going on with Memoria Press. I have a whole video on this if you're interested in somewhere in my videos. I haven't done too many videos as of yet, so those should be fairly easy to find. I think it's an unboxing one. I think I actually titled it Memoria Press. So this is a very cut and dry curriculum, and there's something to be said for cut and dry curriculum. Sometimes you just have to memorize your capitals and your states, and there's no workaround for it. Yes, you can put in puzzles and hands-on elements and things like that, but at the end of the day, you just have to memorize it. You just have to do it, So this has been really great for that. It's very cut and dry. So what you're supposed to do is you use that in conjunction with the 50 States book by Kenneth C. Davis. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to use this book. You can use any reference style book that you already have on the 50 states. So, there's a plethora of it. And maybe I should do a whole video on the ones that I have, because I have a whole stack of these style things. But for ease of reference, my boys each have one of these, but I also alternate from this and I pull in some of the other stuff that we have just to make it more interesting. But honestly, this is done in 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes. It's done in like 5 minutes. I mean, I even hesitate to say 5 minutes, because the thing with it is that pretty soon your kids get used to what's expected of them, okay? So pretty soon your kids know, okay, here is the state of New York. Here, am I in the frame? Here's the state of New York. I know I just have to find the abbreviation, the capital, the nickname, date admitted to union, and fun facts. And then I'm gonna look over here on where it's located and stuff. And so the only thing that they have to do is just fill this out. And that's the only thing that you have to do for here. So where do you get that information? It tells you over here to go to page 40. So then I would go to page 40. And it is a 2-page spread, and they can read it, and then they write down the information. And that is literally it, because you'll see like the next page. Now we're moving on to New Jersey. Now we're moving on to Delaware and stuff. So that's literally like it. So I always knew I wanted to do something else to just beef it up. And I don't have to incorporate like another curriculum. I can keep doing what I've been doing, which is incorporating a lot of puzzles, a lot of flashcards, a lot of YouTube videos, and I can keep doing that. And that is perfectly fine. And then we're also reading from this book too. I think I do have like a whole video, I believe, on this, on what I'm using and how I'm integrating it and stuff. So I could continue to do all that. So that is but I always knew that I wanted to just jazz it up a little bit without me always having to come up with the ideas. And I think that's the big takeaway, right? Because there's it's a lot of effort, right? So to jazz it up, I mean, it's not a lot of effort. You just get your puzzles and you'll find your YouTube videos and you find books to go along with it. It's not a lot of work. But still, with everything else that I'm doing with like ELA and everything, and even math, I just wanted something that will do the work for me. So I always knew that I wanted to use Beautiful Feet books, because tying in picture books or other books and things of that sort, I think will give us the variety that we need. Because again, this is done in like 5 minutes, and I'm being very generous with 5 minutes. They literally will just read the 2-page spread and then fill out the stuff, right? And I can extend it again, but again, that requires me to go and do all the footwork for it. And again, it's not It's not like I have to like create a new curriculum or anything like that, but I do have to put the effort in to pull the books and figure out which activities we're going to do and things of that sort, you know? So this is going to take that out for me, so I don't have to do that. So these are the books that are going to be covered in it, that you're going to use. So this atlas book, you're going to pretty much use throughout the curriculum, and same with this one. This one you're only using for like the first 5 lessons, I think, and then this one for about 5 lessons worth. And then you start doing again for like 5 lessons, and then you're doing this, and then so on and so on. But these are the books that you're going to be reading from, yeah, and then that's it. And then they also have additional books that you can use to incorporate if you want in the beginning of every kind of unit. So let me take you to the breakdown. So like you have part 1, Intro to Geography. I believe they give you like a book list even for that one, like an alternative, not an alternative, but like an extra book list. And then there's definitely one for each of these big sections and stuff, you know? So what I like about this in particular is that it's going to be incorporating landforms. So, and that's something that we haven't covered in probably at least 3 years. So that's something that we definitely need a refresher on. So some of the books that I'm going to need right away, I need this one. And for whatever reason, when I went searching for this book, the only place I can find it was on Beautiful Feet Books at a decent price. Everywhere else, it was like $40 for some reason, you know, but I almost skipped on it. And I think that you probably can skip on it and just use another map reference book that you may already have. So if you have like a book that talks about like maps or something, like a picture book, and I know that I've seen plenty over the past like several years, I've seen a lot of really good alternatives to this, you know, so you don't have to get this one, but I ended up getting it. But just so you know, I don't think you're going to miss out on anything at all if you get a different one, picture book that talks about maps. I don't think you're missing anything out like at all from it, just so you know. So if you encounter the same thing and you're trying to reduce costs, you can totally skip on this and replace it with something else that you get at the library. The other things that you're going to need is this, and this one I do recommend, and I've had this for many, many years. I actually have 2, but this just, I know it says geography from A to Z, so you think it's like an alphabet book and you're like, oh, do I really need it? But it just kind of goes through all the different like water and land formations, and it just gives you the word or the landform or whatever, and then a quick definition. And that's really it. So that's why it's useful. You know, what's an ocean ridge? It gives you an example. What's an ocean? What's a mouth? You know? And so that's going to be used throughout this whole thing. So I'm actually really glad to be able to use this book, because in years past, I've only been able to use it here and there. So the thought of me actually getting more use out of it makes me happy. So you're going to need that. And then here is the US Atlas. And I actually didn't even have a United States atlas. Out of all the atlases that I have, I can't believe I never had a US one. So I had to purchase this one. But I'm actually really pleasantly surprised. Like, look at the quality of map for it. Like, you can see like all the detail. I feel like this is a bump up. Like, this is like the in-between. So you have like the kiddo, like the young one. I'm trying to think of the name of that. Like the big map one. I forgot what it's called. But it's a big blue one, you know, and you have like cartoonish illustrations in it. I feel like that is your preschool, kinder, lower elementary. And then I feel like this one is your upper elementary, middle school one. And then of course you have your regular atlases, which is high school and above. So I feel like this is like the perfect one, because you can see all the land and water formations in here. You can see where the mountains go. You have your map key over here. And then you have details over here about each area, and real illustrations, real pictures, and facts that you need. So I'm actually really happy, and I think it was like $10 or something like that on Amazon. So that is all that you're going to need for the first like 7 for the first like 6 lessons or so. So that's the only thing that I'm pulling right now, but I do want to pull The Street Beneath Us. And it's actually recommended, the 50 Adventures in the 50 States. That's one of the ones that I was trying to think of, that I was trying to say. And then the National Park. So I have those 2 down here, so I'm probably going to incorporate those as well. I may go grab it too, just so I can show it to you guys. But you can see the first part is Intro to Geography. And so you see, they already have online resources, episodes that you can watch, you know, Rabbit Trails, which is an atlas of Indian nations, which I may get that because we don't have that. I'm always being asked about that from the kids. There's always recipes. And then your dig deeper, this one is making a compass. But somewhere in here, it said the street beneath us. And I have that one. I just have to find it. But I'm going to bring that out because what you're doing for the first, here's lesson 1, lesson 2, so you can see. So for the first, I'll show you. All right, so for the first 3 lessons, you're just kind of going over the geography of the United States and the layers of the earth and the earth underneath us and directional signs and northeast, south, and west, and things of that sort. And then for part 2, you get into these other areas. See, and it gives you other recommendations for other books, but there's more over here on this side. So it tells you more over here, you know? And then it tells you landforms, yeah, and salt dome maps and things of that sort, you know? So anyway, so I'm over here. So I ended up giving you like a brief overview actually on like this curriculum and stuff, you know? By the way, you can get the literature, the black and white, comprehensive Rabbit Trails. Oh, they have it all here in the back. Broken down by each part. So part 2, because part 1 was all about landforms, right? And then you start with the Northeast. It has it all here for you, broken down, all the books, like additional books you may want. And then here's part 3, the Southeast. Oh, so that's really cool. So it has it like all in one location, basically. Yeah, and then the Midwest and then the West. So it has it all broken down. That's nice. So anyway, what I have to do is I have to look forward. Part of my planning that I'm going to be doing is I got to look forward to part 2 over here where it says the Northeast and look at these books and see if there's any in here that I want to incorporate and any that my library has and things of that sort. Because I know that there was several that I was like, oh, that would be interesting, you know? Anyway, so now I just got to figure out like how I want to do it. Like, what's my flow? How am I going to put this all together while still doing my Memoria Press, which is very easy to integrate because it's just 5 minutes of stuff, you know? But now I got to like merge everything and figure out how it's all going to go. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to take a look. I'm actually going to pause for a second because I got to go eat breakfast because I did this. This was on my mind like all yesterday. So I'm going to go take a breather and I'm going to go eat some breakfast. And then when I come back, I'm going to sketch out like a plan of attack on how I want to incorporate everything. Okay, I'm back. I'm refreshed. I've eaten. I've watched a little bit of TV. I am as relaxed as I'm going to get. All right, so now what I have to do is I have to plan everything out. And do you know what? I find myself like after I write it down, I rarely actually have to go back to it to see what I'm going to do that day. Does that make any sense? Sometimes it's just the act of putting things down on paper that helps to organize my thought, but I don't actually use this as like, oh, what am I going to do today? Let me go and like check it out and stuff, you know? Like once I write it down, it just helps to like solidify the information in my head. Every now and then I may have to like go back and look at what I wrote, but to be honest, it's kind of like once I write it down, it just helps to clarify things. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start with the easiest portion of this whole thing, which is the Memoria Press. So I'm going to look back and I'm going to see what we're going to do this upcoming week. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to write it down. Okay, so I finished going through it and it's pretty easy. We're just doing Connecticut and Vermont. But what I wanted to show you is that after we finish Connecticut and Vermont, we're actually taking a quiz. And this is out of this book, The States and Capitals, Teacher Key Quizzes and Tests. So we're actually, this is what the quiz looks like. So we're going to have the state name, abbreviation, and the capital. And then I guess the grade that they got. And that's how the quizzes look like. And we have like a bunch of blank templates, and then here are the states and stuff. I like to use our Jack and Link dry erase boards for this. Very easy to use. I can repeat and reuse over and over again to do quick like quiz drills type situations, you know, just to drill them really quick. Let's see what the tests look like. Okay, well, this is the 4-region quiz. So the one for New England, it's essentially exactly like the quiz, except you're going to have it over over all the New England states, I think. So here's the southern states. Here's the plain states, Rocky Mountain states, Pacific states. I don't know. I don't know how the 4-region quiz. I think this is maybe over New England, Mid-Atlantic states, Great Lakes, and then Southwestern states. I'm thinking. All right. And then final test is exactly just like the quiz, except that it's over, yeah, it's over all 50 states. All right, so that's what that looks like. Yeah, I definitely like, and then the answer key. I definitely like to use our Jack and Link stuff for this. It's less overwhelming. I think it's low consequence, I suppose, because then you can just wipe it off and then you just start it over like the next day. You know what I mean? So just rinse, repeat, reuse type of situation. So anyway, very easy. I just have it mapped out here. MP for Memoria Press, Connecticut, Vermont in review. Set up dry erase boards, 2 quiz, and flashcards. So that's how we're going to be using Memoria Press. So very easy, easy peasy. So that's what's going on for that. And then what I kind of wanted to do, braiding sweetgrass. I actually have, hold on a second. Here it is. Okay. I have braiding sweetgrass, which is the original, but I also have the one for young adults. So here's the thing. I prefer, I think, the braiding sweetgrass. And then the person who's narrating, which I heard is the author. She narrates the original one. Somebody else is narrating this one. So I'm just going to quickly like flip through it because I'm still undecided on which one that I want to do. I want you guys to notice the color. I want you guys to notice the images. I want you guys to notice like the headings and stuff because this isn't prevalent in the original, okay? There are prompts and stuff for like questions and stuff throughout. What was that? Oh, like that. And this is what it looks like. I don't think it's bad or anything like that. I just have like a preference. I think some of the magic I feel is lost a little bit in this young adult version versus the original one. So I'm just kind of conflicted, but I want to incorporate this where we're listening to it. But you see, none of that is prevalent here. There's no separation of headings. There's no graphics. There's no questions being asked. There isn't anything like that. So anyway, I got to make that decision sometime today on which one I want to do because I do want to do one. And it has a really great audio. That's like the #1 thing that people notice and talk about with the original one is how soothing and stuff her voice is and how she really makes this come to life, you know? So I'm leaning towards doing this one versus this one. And I mean, this one, I can always revisit this with my youngest in a couple years. Right now, he's going into 5th grade. And so I think this would be a really great one for his middle school years for us to incorporate just him and I together. So I don't know. So either way, it's not a big loss because I'll just do this with my youngest in a couple years. But this one we can kind of just do really informally and just listen to the audio. So then there's that. Another thing that I didn't write down is this. Because this, we're just covering it as we cover like the different states and stuff. And we do this as a read aloud. But actually, I probably should write that down just because. So I'm going to write down book, our states, crazy shapes. Just so I remember. All right, so then there's that. So I figured out that that's pretty much our Memoria Press. Without the book, without the flashcards, without setting up dry erase things, our thing literally would just be done in like 5 minutes, you know? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Beautiful Feet books And then what are we going to be doing here? I know that it is all an introduction. See, I want to go through like these books. So I'm going to do that when I get a moment like later on today and just see. I have 50 adventures in the 50 states. I'll probably pull that one. National parks, I have that one. And then I just have to see any other resources from here that I'll want to pull out, you know? But I know part 1 is basically just geography. So I think I'm going to end up getting this one. I'll do a flip through on Instagram when I get it, because I just think that here it is, the street beneath my feet. I knew I saw it somewhere, and I have it somewhere upstairs. So I just have to find it. I'm going to take a look at some of these online resources as well, and see which ones that I want to do, you know? So we're not going to make our own compass. This is part of like the dig deeper here. I'm not going to do that because we've done that before. We're not really big bakers and stuff, so we're not going to do that. But then I'm going to look at lesson 1, and I'm going to look because I want to do all 3 of these lessons this week, and then go to the Northeast one starting next week, you know? So we'll do 3 lessons out of here this week. So we're going to need a compass, and we're just basically familiarizing ourselves with north, east, south, and west, and what parts of our house, for instance, face north, what parts face south. Finding where north is or east is and where the sun rises, and then west where the sun sets. Yeah, and we're just labeling our windows sunrise or sunset, and just paying attention when the sun rises and sets in terms of like where we're orientated, like our house and stuff, and familiarizing ourselves with, we will always know where we're at if you remember that the sun rises in the east. And so you can always kind of like figure out your, you know, directional, like where you're at. Like you can always find north and stuff if you know all that. You guys know what I mean. So introducing mapping Penny's world. Now here's the only thing that I am going to figure out, because mapping out, let me get the book. Mapping out Penny's world is a really, really easy read. Like this is so easy, and they want us to do study pages 3 and 4. All right, so if this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically just parts of a map and stuff. So the title, key, symbol, scale, compass rose, all that kind of stuff. And then you have the rest over here. I mean, but it is such an easy read. You definitely can do this like in 10 minutes, you know? So anyway, that is all. And then never eat soggy waffles. That acronym to help remember the directional signs. And then lesson 2, now we're reading 5 to 8, and we're looking at a map of her bedroom, which I just shared. That's the one with the map of her bedroom. And then we're just going to make a map to scale of their bedrooms. So that's going to be interesting. So 1 square foot or 1 foot is going to equal 1 inch. Yeah, 1 foot is going to be equal to 1 inch, and that's going to be our map scale. So it's going to be interesting. And then I always want to do like these things when the layers of the earth and stuff. I just always think that stuff is fun. All right. So we'll end up doing that. Here's a dig deeper, the dirt beneath us. There are some YouTube videos over here. Atlas Pro YouTube channel, and All About Soil on William Carroll Broom's YouTube channel, and BBC. So here are some options. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spend some time later on just figuring out which one of these videos that I want to pull from, you know? And then lesson 3, which is the final one, is we're finishing Penny's world. And we're going to be pulling from, now we're pulling from this book. So we're pulling from this one, and we're going to look at pages 6 to 7 and 8 to 9. And we're going to create, add the following title to the map in neat print, the United States, and draw a box to add a legend. And we're going to be adding symbols as we progress throughout the course. I actually ordered something. I actually made something for this, and I ordered it. And I'll share with you guys, but it's basically like a big wall size United States map. And that's what we're going to be doing and filling in and stuff as we go along and we learn about the different landforms and all kinds of stuff like that. So we are going to just map our state, basically. Map our state, add it to the legend, and just using the map on pages 6 and 7 of the New America. So now that's the only other book I actually don't have. I forgot to share that with you guys. That book is this one. That one. And you're going to be using it for like a good 4 or 5 lessons. So it's that one. So I need that, and we're going to be reading from that. And then we are going to be using the A to Z one, which is this one that I shared with you guys. And we're going to be studying biomes. And so just to watch this YouTube video on what are biomes, because every lesson after that, once you get into here, you're going to start studying specific land and water formations, you know, like here's bay, cape, gulf, marsh, all that kind of stuff, you know. So anyway, all right, so let me write this down, and then the only thing I have to figure out is what YouTube videos that we're going to watch. Okay, so the kids are downstairs, so I apologize if you hear noise in the background. But I have Beautiful Feet books, lessons 1, 2, 3, and I just have like the big things that I'm going to be doing out of the lessons, you know? If I need details and stuff, that's what this is for, you know? So all my detail stuff is in here. I just need the big takeaways and stuff, so I know in my brain what we're going to be doing. So we have YouTube videos marked. I haven't technically marked it because I'm going to do it later on today. You can hear there's a bunch of chaos going on with the kids in the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these, and the videos that I want to watch, I would just like mark it, you know, and that's how I'll know. And then I'll queue them up on my laptop and stuff beforehand. So that way it's all in there nicely organized and stuff, you know. So YouTube videos marked. We're going to be doing a map of the bedroom, labeling our windows, and layers of the earth. Those are like the big takeaways. I just need to know the big takeaways so I have it in my head, like what we're going to be doing. And so all of that is going to be our geography. So the only thing I have to figure out is this braiding sweetgrass. I'll come up with my decisions sometime today. I just got to take some time to look at it a little bit more. And then I have all our books. So these are the 3 books that we're going to be using for Beautiful Feet books. And then I have this book I'm doing with Memoria Press. And then this one that goes along with it. I'm going to keep it simple this week. I'm not going to do like a different 50 states type of thing. I think we're just going to do this for this week. And then next week I'll start bringing in some new ones. But there you go. I've planned it out. That's what my planning sessions look like. This one was actually a little bit easier than some of the other ones. Like when I do ELA, that one's a little bit more complicated for me. But there you go. Planned it out, sorted out. I have a general idea on what we're going to be doing. I don't need a plan to the minuscule. Like I don't need to plan every little nitty gritty thing at all. I just need to know, big takeaway, what are we going to be doing? What are we going to be covering? Same for over here, you know? Then I just need to gather all the books and just put them off to the side so all the geography stuff is done. So again, the only things I have to figure out are which YouTube videos that we're going to do, which when I get a moment later on today, I'm going to go through and figure out which ones. I'm also going to look ahead, by the way, while I'm doing that. I'm going to look ahead to when we have to do, what section is it? When we have to do the Northeast and look at some of the book recommendations that they had, because there's like a whole bunch that I may want to integrate in the next lessons, you know? So anyway, so I'm also going to do that at that time, and then just figure out how I want to do these 2 things. And there you go. Thank you guys for joining me. Sometimes it helps just to talk it out, and it definitely helps me just to like write it out. Even if I never actually use this as a tool during my school day, it helps to break it down like this. So I know we're going to be doing this 3 days this upcoming week, you know? Anyway, thank you guys. If don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye, guys. Okay, I forgot to mention two more books. This is not new to you guys because I think that we've done, I feel like we have talked about how I'm integrating the Memoria Press before. So we're still using this, but I'm going to be incorporating this American Tall Tales. Just reading one tale every time that we do geography, and then we cover, like, what did I say, Vermont and Connecticut. So we'll find the ghost stories for Vermont and Connecticut in here, and then we'll cover it. So I just wanted to add that because it would bother me if I didn't include it. So there you go. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.